Alright, so schedules. What are they and how do they work? I like to think of schedules in the same way I would think of how does my order cycle work. So what are my delivery dates and my pickup dates, and how do I define my order window for every single one of those dates? So meaning, when's my pickup date, when do I start taking orders, and when is my order cutoff? And those three things are essentially what makes up a schedule. We have quite a bit of flexibility when creating these, but I'm going to walk through a very basic example. So I hit add schedule here and I give it a name. This is just an internal name, meaning no one on the front end of your website will ever see this. So just think of something that's intuitive for you. Click add dates here on the top right. And right away I'm presented with a field that says pickup dates here at the top. But that's basically, it would be a delivery date as well. Those are always interchangeable. And I want my delivery to be here on July the 20th, so I'll select that date. And down here is where we define our order window. So in my example, let's say I'm ready to start taking orders immediately. I would select the current date here for July 9th as my start date. And let's say I want the cutoff to be there on Wednesday the 18th. That way I have the 19th to fill my orders for a delivery on the 20th. So again, basically Wednesday at midnight is when my cutoff is going to be. After that time, my customers would no longer have the opportunity to place a order for delivery on the 20th. So let's click apply here. This is basically step one. Step two would be to assign pickup locations to this schedule, or delivery zones if that's what you're working with. And multiple locations can share the same schedule if they share the same ordering cycle. So maybe if I have the same truck that takes the same route every week, I can assign every single location that truck is going to stop at, because obviously they're going to share the same order window or the same cycle. And we assign locations or zone the schedules basically on the location level. So I don't do it here at my schedule. I would go into whichever, basically the pickup location or delivery zone of my choice. And this is basically a mirrored example for delivery zones, but I'm going into a pickup location here. And I'm going to go to schedules down here at the bottom right and assign it to the one we just created. That will auto save, and you'll see for reference you'll have your order window down here at the bottom. And if you want to edit your dates, if you click this, it'll just take us right back to the schedule we just made. And on the flip side down here, I have all of my pickup locations that I assigned to this schedule for reference as well. And if I had assigned a delivery zone instead to this schedule, going about it the exact same way, it's literally the exact same process, that would appear down here instead. But again, that's pretty much the bare bones basics. One quick tip, let's say that this is a delivery schedule that repeats for us on a routine cycle, so maybe monthly or weekly. We built a handy feature to help you add multiple or repeating dates, and that's this checkbox down here. If we check it, we'll get the option to repeat this delivery or these date fields up here on a weekly basis, every 4 weeks, what have you. I'm going to set mine to weekly, and I want these dates to repeat until, let's say, the end of the year. That way I can add all of my deliveries instead of hard keying every single one till December 31st. And so I would set that, and since I had my last delivery date for July 20th, I would set this one. Again, it's a weekly cycle, so I'd set it to July 27th. Now, the order window, you want to be sure that you get this right. Basically, the start date now, you want that to be the day after your previous order cutoff date. So that would be July 19th, because my order cutoff before was the 18th. And the reason why we do that, we don't want a gap in between our order windows, because if there's a gap, say our order window here started on the 20th, there would be this gap on the 19th where customers on the front end of our website would not be able to place an order. So we want to make sure that there's never a gap between these two. So I would select the 19th here as my start date. And again, Wednesday was my cutoff last week. I'm going to just repeat that every week. So this would be Wednesday the 25th. Click apply, add dates, and this will flood my schedule with a weekly delivery date on Fridays until the end of the year. So that's quick features, saves a lot of time. One other important thing I wanted to go over while we're here is reminders, which is the second tab. So here we have the opportunity to trigger a very relevant and targeted email campaign to any customers that are associated to this schedule, reminding them to place their order before our deadline date closes. So again, it's very targeted, only sends to customers that are associated to this schedule, and it's actually one of our highest converting email campaigns that we send at Seven Sons. And the best part about it is that it's completely automated. So once you set this up, you can just forget it. It'll send in your sleep. So let's walk through the settings. We click Enable, and then you're going to want to select the email template that you want to trigger. And if you haven't watched our video on email templates, I'd encourage you to do so. But by default, you will already have a pre-written order deadline template made up. So I'll select that one. And down here is basically the days before your deadline that you want this email to trigger. So if you set this to 0, it will send the day of our deadline at 8 o'clock in the morning. And if we hit save here, it gives us the opportunity to trigger a secondary or a final reminder email to send out. So maybe you would send one the day before the deadline closes and one the day after, or the day of, I'm sorry. Now, the only thing to note here, if you want to make a change to your email template, you'll want to always do so 24 hours before this email is triggered to send, because this email will actually be scheduled to send out 24 hours in advance to accommodate any time zone differences between where your customers might be located. So that way, this email would always trigger to send at 8 o'clock local time. Heading over to settings, the only field in here is where you would actually change the name of the schedule, and that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and be sure to move on to the next video to learn more about how to make Gray's Cart your own.